All right, welcome back, guys. All right, in continuation from where we stopped yesterday, so we talked about the last tool we talked about was the object selection tool, and right now we'll go into our quick selection tool. Now, what the quick selection tool does, it just helps you select an object in a layer or a particular object in a picture. Let's say I want to select this product right here, right now. All I just need to do is just get to my quick selection tool or press the key W to get the key. Now you can use your bracket arrow, your squared bracket up or down to increase or reduce the size of the selection um marker. So once you're okay, you all you just need to do is click and drag, and you see that it selects the particular object. Now, what this actually does is what the quick selection tool does is it looks out for pixels that are the same color and try to select them individually or try to get hold of a pixel that is closely related to another pixel that you've selected, right? That's how you come to select this stuff. So once you're done, you can press your alternate key and click and drag to deselect a particular area, or you can as well just click on this minus key here, right? To select, you can click the plus key. Now you see the thing I've selected this particular object, and you can do whatever it is you want to do with this object right now. If you want to get it off out of the background, you can actually do that. And that's one easy way to do it. In subsequent lessons, I'm going to show you how to remove a subject or an object from its background. Very easy, like AI. Yep. Next, we have our magic wand tool. Now, what the magic wand tool does is it helps you to select a particular color. It's a selection tool that helps you to select a particular color of this pixel you selected. Okay, let's say you will have this red color now, and you want to select all the parts that has this particular red color. So once you select that pixels, it helps you to select all the whole pixels that contains that the same color with the pixel you chose. So I've choose this pixel now, and you see the thing I've selected the colors that are related to that particular pixels, right? If you look closely, this one is not as bright as this one. That's why this place is not selected, right? If I want to select a lighter shade of the red, if I select these pixels now you see that every color that is related to that particular pixel that I selected now is selected. And you can actually use it to select a particular part of the face that you want to tone out or you want to saturate. That's the job of your magic wand tool. Now we have our crop tool. What your crop tool help you does is it just helps you to your crop tool just helps you to crop a particular image. Let's say I want to crop this particular document I'm working with. All I need to do is just to click on my crop tool, and you see that you can actually reduce or scale it, crop it to the point you want, and hit enter, and it crops the area for you. All right. We have other tool. We have the slice tool. We have the perspective tool. We have the slice select tool. We're not going to be going deep into that. Then we have this tool here, which is your frame tool. You use it to just select a particular frame and use it for whatever you want. But we are not going, since we are using Photoshop mainly for graphic design, so you're not going into that fully. Now we have our rule tool. What the rule tool does is it helps you just to calculate your height and the length. Still, we are not going to be using the tool because It's of no use to us. Now, spot healing brush tool. Now, spot healing brush tool, what it does, it's, as the name implies, it helps you to heal spots, right? I'm going to, I'm just going to look for an image. Um, all right, we have an image like this. Let's say you have this lady with the spots and you don't want the spots on her face. Now, this spot healing brush here, this spot healing brush tool, what it does, it just removes that spot, right? And let's select it. Now, all you just need to do is you just select, you hover your mouse around the point you want to remove the spot, then you click on it and you see the spot is gone, completely gone. You've removed the spot and you can remove others. See how it does a clean job by removing those spots. No matter how thick or how light the spots are, it just helps you to remove the spots. Okay, I think I should undo this so that we'll see, duplicate the layer. Now just remove the spots now. Hard spots. Okay, now I'm just removing random spots from her face because she has a lots and lots of spots on her face. And we're going to discuss on how to retouch images much later in this tutorial. How to retouch images, especially for photographers, how to retouch your image. So see what we have initially, the spots, and we were able to remove some of the spots from our face just by a click of a button, which is your spot healing brush. Now we have our healing brush tool. Much like the spot healing brush, it actually does the same thing with this thing. It just heals your spots. All it does is it picks another part of that pixels to cover up the spot that is there. Let's take for example this this spot here right now. If we just want to cover it up, we can just select here, holding down your alternate key and select the part you want to select. Then you click on the pot. Now you see that you've used, it's just like your patch tool. You've used another part of the skin to patch that particular area. And this doesn't work for just the skin, it works for clothing areas also. So if you want to cover this mole here also, you can just click somewhere very close to the mole and just click on it and you've covered it. I think I better job here. Just alternate select, then you click on it and you've covered up that part, right? And that's how your healing brush works. Then we have our patch tool, works like the healing brush, and our content are well moved too. Also, I'm going to teach you how to use your content are well moved too. You can just select a particular part and move it to somewhere you want to, if you want to change it. It helps when you're dealing with skin tones and some other stuff, right? We'll go much deeper into it when we start our tutorial full and when we are doing our photo manipulations and the rest. For now, we just want to learn and go over all the tools we have. Then we have our red eye tool. This gets rid of red eyes, right? Okay, now we have our brush tool. As the name implies, what the brush tool does is it just helps you to paint. It's like a brush, it helps you to paint on your canvas, right? So we have something like this. let me create a whiteboard here to show you what I. So we have a white canvas here. Now if I select my brush tool, I can actually, sorry, this was a pre-saved format. Now if I change the color now to black, now you see that you can paint, depends on the opacity, how you set the opacity and your flow. So you can actually draw on your canvas, right? And much more. You can actually change the colors also. You can actually change the color of your brush to paint whatever you want to paint. Now you've seen designs that have they'll have some kind of brush like effect like this in designs. I'll show you how to master it in the course of this this lesson, right? Now we have also our pencil tool. Now as the name implies, a pencil. You can actually use it to make sketches and do some drawings. That's the whole essence of your pencil tool, right? Now we have our color replacement tool. Now what the tool does is it replaces the color, right? Then we have our mixer brush tool. Now what the mixer brush tool does is it mixes two colors together. Like you have two colors now and you want to get a particular color from those two colors. Like it's just like your canvas where you mix your colors, right? Your palettes where you mix your colors as an artist. This color mixer brush is like the brush you use in mixing colors on your palette. Now we have our clone stamp tool. What the clone stamp tool, it works like the content aware tool, and we are going to dive right into it when the time comes. Now we have our history brush tool. Now what the history brush tool is, it helps you to save some histories of some adjustments you've made with your brushes. Take for example, you um you cleaned off a part of this image, you can go meet your history tool, and your history brush tool gives you those edits, undo what you have already done and brushes in the ones that the ones you've done already. All right. We have our eraser tool. As the name implies, what it does is it just erases. That's the sole job of this your eraser tool. It just erases it. We'll be using much of it when, well, during the course of this lecture. Now we have our paint bucket tool. Now the paint bucket, what the paint bucket tool does is it just fills in a color on a particular layer. Let's say you have this layer here right now and you want to fill it in with a particular color. Once this color is selected and you just click on it, it fills the color in, right? It just fills in a particular part of the color for you. It's especially when you have a white background. So we have an empty layer here and I just hit the color, it just fills in the color for you, right? That's what your paint bucket tool does. Then we have our gradient tool. Your gradient tool, as the name implies, it creates gradient for you. Now I have a gradient pre-saved here up here. Now I've had black and somewhat navy blue. So once I click and drag, you see that the thing creates a nice gradient. Let's look for something different. Look for something magenta-ish. So we have something like this. So if I drag and drop, you see the thing creates a gradient for me, and that's how we create gradients. We'll be using much and much of this on the course of this lecture. Then we have 3D material drop tool. We're not going to use that. Then we have, coming to our blur tool. Now what's the blur tool? As the name implies, now it blurs a particular part of the image. Let's say you want to blur out some parts of this lady's ear, you can just select the image and say, okay, let me just blur this part out. All you need to do is just to select your blur tool, and you see that it blurs out the particular part of the image you want to blur out, right? Then we have our sharpen tool. Invariably what the sharpen tool does is it sharpens a part of that image. Now, if you look closely, you see that it sharpens that part. So no matter how, then we have our smudge tool. What the smudge tool does is it's like smears it, something like this. It like smears an object, right? Normally you use that in the eyebrows. I'm just doing this because you don't need to do this in the brush size is supposed to be very, very small to do that. Now you use it just to smudge a particular part of the area if you want to like make it blend. Once you if you want to blend an image, your smudge tool. We're going to discuss more on the smudge tool. That will be much later. Then we have our dodge tool, we have our bond tool, and we have our sponge tool, right? Those ones we'll talk about them subsequently in the course of this lecture. Is when you start using the whole interface that you know what these tools are for. Now, when we go deep into the course and the and these tutorials, you see that at one point or the other, we are going to be needing one or more of these tools as the time goes on, and that's when you're going to learn much about the tool. Then we have our pen tool. Now, Now the pen tool, what it does is it just creates, you can create a shape, you can create a part, or you can create pixels just by drawing. We are going to use more more of the pen tool, right? Now this is basically what the pen tool does. It just draws shapes, or it draws parts for you depending on what you want from it, right? That's the job of the pen tool. All right. So we have some other tools in the pen tool: the free pen tool, the curvature pen tool, the add anchor point tool, the delete anchor point tool, the convert point tool. But this ones we're going to talk about them subsequently. Now we have our text tool. This is where what you use to add your text in a design, right? I'll be using plenty of that. We'll be using we'll be using that a lot also. Now we have what inside our text tool, we have other type of text tool that we're going to be using, right? Then we have our part selection tool. We're going to discuss more about that. Then we have our shape tool, our rectangle, our eclipse, our triangle, our polygon, our line tool, and our custom shape tool. Now all these tools we're going to be talking about them, you see how we use them. Then we have our pan tool, which is this hand tool here. The hand tool, you can move your canvas or your workspace about, right? If you want to select a particular part or do something else, right? Now we have our zoom tool. You click to zoom in and you right click to zoom out, right? Then there are tons of tools down here that we're not going to talk much of, or we don't use this. All right, now here you have your foreground, your color picker tool. You have your foreground color and your background color. This is where you set your foreground and your background color, and you can switch between the both of them, which of the colors you want to use. Just by toggling it, you can switch between the colors, which one you want, just by toggling this switch here, or you can reset it to the color, the base color, which is black and white, right? All right, and that's it. In our next tutorial, we're going to be talking about our layer tool. Now, a lot of people have been having issues with the layer tool. We're going to discuss that in depth, how the layer tool works, what you can do with the layer. We're going to talk about the channels, we're going to talk about the paths, we're going to talk about the masking, like layer mask. We're going to talk about the blending options. We're going to talk about the editing options. We're going to talk about grouping objects. We're going to talk about creating new layers and deleting layers. So for all of that and more, we'll see in the next class. Catch you later.